Lessons to avoid when family begins marketing for your business. This is episode number 314 of the My Online Toolbox weekly quick tips and reminders in all facets to help you grow your business with more quality leads, amplifying the words more quality. Last week, we were talking about being careful who you follow when the crowd may not be right. And, we've had some people ask us about when we're talking about this type of stuff is why do you dislike this particular marketing person or this particular coach or consultant? And we don't dislike anyone. What we try to do is make people be aware that the buzzword of marketing is used so loosely that pretty much so many people that are trying to sell other types of services kind of throw in the marketing to bait you into something else that they do. And so, because my online toolbox only focuses on marketing, and if you notice, we don't talk about anything else. It would be easy for us to pitch make more money or manage your cash flow better, but if the objective is to really amplify everything to do with marketing, we don't like to use the term loosely. So because we're so focused on the brand, we're so focused in on the quality, we're so focused on the long-term objectives of what we do, we don't deviate. So too many people around us are constantly throwing in these little loose references to marketing. They then just pitch an idea quickly to support really other things they do, and it just annoys us. So we don't dislike anyone. We just always make it a point to realize that this is all we talk about. And while we could talk about many other things to get your attention and then sway you into the direction of marketing, we prefer not to. Previously, the week before that, we were talking about being proactive if you perceive your leads to be slowing down. That doesn't mean you're doing bad. It doesn't even mean that your marketing is doing bad. There's so many different reasons. You'd have to check out that episode, but we wanted to do is thank the numerous customers who reached out to us because now we were able to address those concerns and we don't run from it, especially since we're always, again, with marketing, thinking about 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year out. But this week, what we want to do is talk heavily about this topic because it is a thorn in our side as marketers, let alone a company that focuses on relationships for 1 to 5 years out. But what happens is every so often, somebody will join one of our clients' accounts and then sometimes, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. And we want to show you something because it's just easier through a visual to understand what we're up against, where we start a relationship with you for 1 to 5 years out, leveraging our 35 years of experience, and then someone joins your company to quote unquote quickly help out with the marketing, but they simply don't have enough behind them to make it work. So, about just under 2 years ago, we had an account that their performance was doing absolutely fantastic. And this is actually a quick, if you have to look up, if you're listening to it, you have to look up and you'll see that we have something that's familiar to many of my online toolbox clients about performance index. And we got rid of the numbers just to make a point. But 2 years ago, we're riding on a high. And then all of a sudden, somebody joined the company. We're not going to, well, we don't worry about them. They're not following us anyway. But one of their children joined the company in a very quick manner. And if you could see that big dip, the big dip came and we tried to express quickly what they were doing wrong. There was a little bit of arrogance, but we were able to force their hand at doing something they didn't want to do, but it was part of our 5 year strategy. So we were able to get a little bit of a bump up. But we weren't able to maintain the relationship at that point because, unfortunately, the person who was new to marketing simply didn't want to listen. Yes, they had a recent degree in websites and a couple of other technologies, but they didn't understand marketing and they definitely didn't understand brand marketing. So they were in such a rush at what they were doing. And then you could see this big dip that existed for approximately a year. And right there, that was something that we were noticing, and it took about a year, and the company was still doing okay, and they were able to ride the wave of the dip. We then reached out to them, like we do to all our clients, to do an annual review. We were met with some negativity because their new family member was on it, which was not true. And then, if you could see, the next almost year of activity just got worse and worse and worse until it went to ground zero. We then get a phone call from the owner. The owner wanted to know what it would take to re-engage, but we passed on it. We were met with some adversarial comments, but we said to us, we're not 911. We don't sit here to help build something for years and then have a family member who's new to the company that you will love, we won't, but you love them and you're willing to put up with what they don't know and not realize that while you're trying to help them through the family connection, if they're not receptive to learning from people who are simply so much more experienced than them, we don't want to sit there, wait for them to burn it all down, and then want an account to call up and offer us money, which we don't, it's not that we don't want the money, we don't want the agitation. Because when somebody has gotten to a point where their rankings have completely dissipated, you could bet that businesses slow down, there's no incoming activity, and now they're agitated to get those results up. We rather them go right back to the same family member who destroyed everything and let them be responsible under adverse situations rather than being strategic. So this was an example of something that stimulated this post because it does happen. But to be fair, we've had some success stories with that at the same time too that we've recently posted about, where some family members join and they're receptive to learning, and that works out great. But when they're not receptive and arrogant, we're not looking to sit here on standby to wait for you to burn it all down, and then we're going to just simply come in for a couple of $1,000s and make it 1 to 2 years of a decrease in the strength, all of a sudden that we're somehow through Superman activity supposed to be able to bring us back up to where we were 2 years ago. And here's a really another example, even worse, that you could see. We were watching what this client was doing. And this is a good example. We just stretched it out at a moment to see something over a year where we were just coasting along. Then the owner introduced us to a new family member. This new family member had a TikTok mentality of how they were going to do things. We couldn't get them to relax in how to do it correctly. This was the result. So it was a direct nosedive off of where we were, and now this is where they are going forward as of the beginning of the year. We've already politely said goodbye. We've passed all our notes to them, and it's unfortunate, but we can't control it when we tried to be with somebody years ago and then all of a sudden somebody has now just quickly joined the company and the owners are not receptive to doing it correctly because they want to give a family member the benefit of the doubt when that family member, unfortunately, again, does not have the 35 plus years experience in marketing that we have. But we just want to make this point that if somebody is joining your company and you love them, they have to be open minded to doing it correctly and admitting to the many, many things that they don't know and slow down because that's what marketing is all about. It's not just how fast you can make a post, how fast you could do a website update. And if you don't understand the intricacies of your business, it will only hurt you long term when the person you love probably will leave the company because they will then admit that they just couldn't do the job correctly. As a reminder, to show our commitment to the industry, please just follow us on our Facebook page. You'll see the weekly quick tips. At the same time, go to Instagram. Every week, we feature a project that is marketed, not just a cool project, but a project that is marketed correctly on a continuous basis. This is My Online Toolbox reminding you to start planning yesterday for next year's marketing and profits. Have a healthy week, and we will see you next week.